All right, hi everybody. So in this video here, we're going to solve an equation. We're going to solve 7x cubed plus x squared minus 7x minus 1 equals 0. And what I want to do is, I want to factor this down. And I know that because it's a cubic, I should be able to break this down into 3 linear factors. I mean, I should be able to. Maybe I break it down into a linear and a quadratic, in which case I can use the quadratic formula. But I'm hoping that I can break it down into 3 linear factors multiplied together, because if I can, then I know that my solution is going to come from either A, the first linear equaling 0, or the second linear factor equaling 0, or the third linear factor equaling 0, because any of those situations will cause the whole thing to become 0. So that's really my goal. Okay. Now, and we'll take a look at examples of other ways this question can work here. But anyway, that's what I want to do here. Now, when I take a look at this, I see I've got 4 terms here. So my first thought is I'm going to try factoring this by grouping. And remember, when I do that, because that third term's got a negative there, I'm going to keep the negative with that term and put a positive or an addition in between. Now, for my first set of parentheses, I'm going to factor out that x squared, and I will get 7x plus 1. And I really want that second set of parentheses to look like this first one, but there's a common negative there. So I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to get positive 7x plus 1, which is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Now I've got this 7x plus 1, 7x plus 1 there. It's common to both terms. So I'm going to take it out. In the first term, it was being multiplied by x squared. So I write x squared here. From the second term, it was being multiplied by that negative 1. So I put the negative 1 there. So yeah, I can see the 7x plus 1 is getting distributed to the x squared and then the negative 1. Now, what's beautiful about this is, so I was able to factor that, and I have a linear factor and a quadratic factor. Now, if you can't see how to solve that quadratic factor, that's okay. Well, you got the quadratic formula. There's other things you can do there too. But it turns out in this case, that quadratic factor is actually, a difference of squares. So I can break that down in a very familiar way, x minus 1, x plus 1. So now I've got 3 linear factors multiplied together. The product is 0, which could happen if this first factor is equal to 0, or if the second factor equals 0, or if the third factor equals 0. In any of those 3 cases, I'm going to get a 0 for the overall result here. Now, this is going to end up becoming 7x equals negative 1, x equals negative 1/7. So that's one solution. I could bring that negative 1 over, it becomes positive 1, or I could bring that positive 1 over, and it becomes negative 1. So any of these 3 values, negative 1/7, 1, and negative 1, will be a solution to that initial equation that we were looking at. Now, if you write the solutions like this, please don't put parentheses around that, because it implies that it's a point, which means that the first number is x, the second number is y, the third number is z, and that's not what we're saying here. These are all individual options for the variable x.